Oh, oh, look at that. Something has taken my... This is not a small fish either. Oh, I can feel head shakes. Lake fishing basics with bait and lures. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne. You know, we have so many amazing waterways. Very often the beach is too rough, but we've got incredible lakes and rivers, and they have some really good quality eating fish. And in this video, I'm down at a local waterway. I'm using some lures and some bait. I'm going to teach you exactly what I'm doing and how you can catch a feed in your local lake or river. Stick around to the end for a free PDF download which will outline some vital keys from today's session. Now, I've had some incredible boot camps, beach fishing and worming weekends. They've been so popular that I've just got to do some more. The next one is on the 20th of June, so not far away, and they sell out fast. So if you're interested, head on over to my website, check it out under fishing weekends, and don't worry if you miss it, there's going to be more later in the year. If you're enjoying my videos, remember, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's absolutely free. Really helps my channel. Let's get fishing. Well, you know, as often is the case, even with beach fishing, the wind plays a big factor in where you're going to fish, and that's what's happened today. That's what's influenced me in where I've decided. I just want to come to a vantage point on the lake where I don't really have the wind in my face, especially because I'm going to be casting some lures, and I don't want to be casting the lures into a headwind, because the idea when casting lures, if you can have either no wind or the wind behind you, is fantastic because you get extra distance, means you're covering a lot more water. So I don't want to be fighting with the wind, so I've chosen this particular spot. It's a great spot, a great vantage point, and I'm going to put some beautiful fresh squid out. And while I've got my fresh squid sitting out there waiting for something to come and eat it, I'm going to just be enjoying doing some prospecting with some lures. Just quickly, if you're as passionate about fishing as I am, and you really want to improve and enjoy it even more, why don't you join Roger's Fishing Online Fishing Club, my membership. I've got some amazing people who are members, and we all share our information with each other. There's so much content on there. There's all my fishing courses, plus there's a heap of stuff that's not available on YouTube. And there's no lock-in contracts. You can leave anytime you want. So head on over to rogersfishing.com and check it out. So I need to get some squid bait ready first so that I can have a bait in the water while I'm tossing with the lures. I've actually got this rod, it's still rigged up from the beach. I haven't really changed it. I've got a star sinker on with a relatively short leader, and I've got two 4-0 hooks that I've snelled, and I'm just going to leave that. I'm not even changing it from my beach fishing because the bait I'm using, it'll work fine with this, and this would work for Bream, Flathead, Snapper, Mulloway, whatever wants to grab it. So that's good, don't have to re-rig. So I've got a bit of squid here, a couple of side flaps from the squid that I caught. You can see all that goopy looking skin on there. I like to peel a bit of that off just to reveal the white flesh. I'm just going to cut this into a couple of strips actually. They don't need to be too long. I think I might cut that whole flap in half that way. And I might cut a strip like that. So I'm probably going to use that bit. It's probably a little bit big. I'm going to cut a bit off it and use that in. I'm going to use that piece. I can always use the offcuts later if I want to or if I need to. I do have another squid that I caught this morning as well. So I've got those squid flaps there. I had a squid fish this morning off the rocks. I only caught one. The conditions weren't ideal. So I've got that little fresh squid that I caught this morning with me as well, which I probably will pop on. But for the time being, I'm going to put a bit of this other squid, and then I may use a bit of the fresh squid that I got this morning in about half an hour just before dark, I reckon. But for the time being, I'm going to put this little piece of squid out. I've got my rod holder all ready to go in the water, so I can just sit it there. I'm going to give it a little bit of a hoik, get it out away from the shore. Yeah, I think that's far enough. So I'm going to leave that there to do its thing. I can actually see the water moving and the tide coming in. The tide and the wind are actually almost sort of in slightly opposite directions. Just get my lure out of the tree. I'll show you the lure that I'm going to start off with tonight. Now I've got braid on this rod, and this is the lure. This is actually what's called a stick bait. It doesn't have a bib on it, so it doesn't dive. It just gradually sinks in the water column, and then you just gently twitch it back up, wind up the slack and just work it back in again. So that's what I'll be doing. I'm just going to prospect around this little part. Hopefully I'll hook up to something good. Just having a little fiddle with my drag. Yeah, that's cool. Alrighty, ready to go. I think I might start that way because the wind's blowing that way, and then I'll work my way around, but I need to listen for my other rod. I've set the drag pretty light, so if it takes off I'll be able to hear it pretty easily. I'm going to wander out in the water a bit. See how far I want to go. It's pretty shallow at the moment, just here. Just pull my pants up a bit. Alright, I can see like a little bit of a current line out there. Be interesting to see how far I can get this lure. Alrighty. Can't see any bait fish as yet. Okay, well that sailed out pretty well. I'm actually casting a bit further because this line is lighter. I can get it out further. Get it a long way. I'm on. I've got a fish. It feels alright, but I think it's actually a flathead. Pulling a little bit of line. This is actually only my third cast with that lure. It's tracking right. I think this is actually probably just a nice size flathead. Not a baby, that's for sure. It's got a little bit of weight in it. I'm just going to loosen my drag just a little bit. It's heading that way. Wow. It's going over towards my other line. Yep. Woo. Just going to be gentle with it because I don't know how well hooked it is. It looks strange actually. I'm not sure what it is. Unless I've jagged a stingray or something weird, which normally doesn't happen with a lure. I really don't know what it is. What is this thing? What is it? Have I jagged a stingray or what? Oh no, it's a flathead. The line's caught around its fin, I think. That's what it is. I want to keep it away from these oysters. I think I've got it sideways, that's why it feels strange. I'm going to bring him in this way. I don't have a net. Here it comes. sort of like it's hooked underneath. That's why it felt bigger. It's a nice eating size, but my line is where have I hooked this thing? Oh, it's gone around his. Oh, there you go. Look at that. The lure has hooked him under there and there. Isn't that interesting? He's a nice flathead. He's probably 10, 20, 30, 40, close to 50, maybe about 48 centimetres, but beautiful eating size. Okay, well that was pretty cool. Only 3 casts and a nice flathead to eat. So we'll see what we can add to this fish in the next little while. I wouldn't mind catching one of those snapper that I know exist around this place. Just going to put this in here and check my bit of squid. Got a bit of weight on it. Is this a fish? What's going on? Not sure what this is, but if it's a bit of weed or a stick, I don't know. But I'm bringing it in. Yeah, it's a weed fish. There you go, weed fish. Now I did observe Loz's rule, and I made sure that I had no fraying on my line, on my leader, just above the lure. So there's no fraying, thankfully. So it's good to go. It sails out beautifully with that wind. Because I'm only using fairly light braid, I can cast this a long way. Now I'm letting the lure sink. I'm just guessing because it's not that deep out there. I'm letting it sink down, then I'm just twitching it up gently a little bit like that and winding up the slack and letting it sink back down again. Then I'm just giving it a little twitch up like that, winding up the slack and letting it sink down again. Then just repeating that. Oh, I think I got a weed. See, what happens is when you get close to the bottom, some places have a lot of weed and obstructions on the bottom, which is the case just here. So I'm really trying to work that lure before it hits the bottom, because I know a lot of the time some places have got weed, some places don't, but it's a bit patchy. I let it sink the longest on the first drop because I know I'm obviously in deeper water out there. So I'm letting it drop down a bit. I'm going to give it a bit of a twitch. Oh, on again. Oh, struth. That was a good fish. It whacked it right near the edge. In fact, I saw a big boil of water. Wow. And it tossed my lure. My lure went flying across the water. It's just out there. Wow, that whacked it. Oh, bummer. That was a good fish. This is actually quite fun and productive. That was amazing. That really whacked it. And it hit it not that far from shore. That should have been 2 fish in the bag. Oh, it must be pretty shallow out there because I'm on the bottom and in the weed already. First drop. Beautiful afternoon. I've hooked 2 fish so far. I've landed one. The second one I hooked was pretty solid. Would have been good if I got it. I think it was another flathead. I just wanted to put a fresh bait on this, make sure I've got a nice premium bait out there, especially at this time of the afternoon, and then I'm going to resume tossing my lures now, but I just didn't feel comfortable having it. I wanted to put a bit of that beautiful fresh squid that I caught this morning on because it's just pristine. So let's see now, hopefully I get something good on that. This has been a really enjoyable little hour down by the lake. I caught a lovely flathead. I think the other fish I had on was a good sized flathead. I saw a big swirl in the water and it tossed the hooks, shook its head. But I've just been called away, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and reconvene and continue this session on probably the next night or so. So I'll catch up with you guys very shortly. I'm back down by the lake again. I'm going to get straight stuck into the fishing. You've always got to make every post a winner, so I've diced up some pilchard here. I'm going to just chuck a bit out as far as I can throw it, but it's just good to get a bit of scent out in the water, anything that can actually potentially attract fish. Got some beautiful bait. Once again, I'm going to toss out a fresh bait, and while that's soaking in the water, I'm just going to have some fun and flick lures in the hope I'm going to catch something excellent. I'm going to walk out a little bit so I get that burley out as far as I can. Water's a bit brown and murky because of all the rain that we've had. Oops. So I'm going to flick out a bit of pilchard. That's not too bad, just getting out there a bit. Oh, that's a good throw, that one. Look at that. Ripper. Now that, all those bits of fish out there, that should excite something. I think I might turn this bit of squid body, I think I might actually turn that into 3 pieces. Just try and stretch it 3 ways so I can get 3 nice strips out of it. Yep, so that'll give me 3 pieces. You can see I've got the squid head there as well. There's his eye. But now I'm going to get 3 baits. I thought it's better to get 3 rather than 2. Still a decent sized bit of squid. And I've got 2 more lovely baits ready to go. Now some of these places can be quite weedy, so I've put on quite a long leader from my little sinker all the way down to my 2 snelled hooks. It's probably more than 1 metre long, maybe 1.1 metres, because my thinking is if my sinker hits the bottom and there's some weed, if I have a short leader it could get buried in the weed, but if I've got a long leader hopefully it just wafts down and sits up somewhere which is at least visible to the fish so they can see it, not just smell it but see it, because we know that fish operate out of a sense of smell as well as sight. So I'm going to put these hooks in this lovely bit of squid. I just like to sit the hooks on the squid and line it up and get an idea of where the hooks are going to go. So I think I'm going to put this one in here and then back out the other side again like that. So there's going to be plenty of barb exposed. I'm going to do a similar thing with this one. I'm going to put him in and then back through again. And I think I might pull this bit of squid up. I think I might just half hitch around the top of that just to hold it all neatly. Tell you what, how good is a half hitch? Holds things in place really well. I've got plenty of barb exposed. Actually there's barb out each side, 2 different sides of that bit of squid. I've only got a relatively short window because the sun is actually just disappearing behind the hill now. I can take my shades off, don't need them because of the glare in my face, and I'm going to put this set line out and just start fishing with the lures. But yeah, I've really only got maybe an hour max, and then the mozzies will come in en masse as they usually do, and I'm out of here when that happens. So I'll toss this lovely bit of squid out, really hoping that something likes it. Looks good in the water. It would be wonderful to hear this drag screaming as something just picks it up and runs with it. That would be epic. So I think I'm going to whack it straight out about there. Oh, that's a good cast. Plenty of distance there. Okay, she's hit the bottom. I'm going to let that drag be a little bit loose and put him in there. And I'm going to leave him to do his own work and grab my line. Oh, look at that. Something has taken my... Oh, I have a fish on my squid bait. Wow. I have to put this down. I can feel, my goodness me. This is not a small fish either. Oh, I can feel head shakes. Seriously, I've had a bait in the water for 5 minutes and it's peeling line and heading that way. Just going to tighten this drag slightly. This is definitely not a bream. Wow. He's arcing to the left at the moment. Wow. I'm not making a lot of impression at the moment on this fish. Just being really gentle with him. I have a feeling he's going to take another run in a minute. Wow, how awesome. Oh, sometimes it's like this, you got your heart in your mouth when you hook a big fish. So what I tend to think this is a Mulloway. That's what I think it is. But we will find out. He hasn't taken a big run yet. We're near the shore over here. So he's heading up that way now. I want to bring him back over this way. I don't want him to go way up there. Oh gosh, he's come right in near the shore. Oh, I don't think he's pretty solid. Hard to say how big it is, but I'm glad he's coming back this way now. How exciting is this? This is so cool. Whoa! Oh, here he comes. Man, that squid bait has worked. I'm going to try and gently bring this fish in towards the shore here. He's very close. Very close. And I can actually see that it is a Mulloway. How awesome. I can see the spots all along his lateral line. Oh, look at this fish. What a fish. Wow. I'm not going to try and bring him in just yet. He's still fighting pretty hard. Oh, look at this. Just going to gently bring him in. He has woofed that squid bait. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look at this fish. What a cracker. He's definitely over 70 centimetres. He's a decent size, a beautiful lake fish. What a stunning fish. What a beautiful fish this is. I was going to pick him up. Hold him. Look at this fish. What an absolutely beautiful fish. How awesome. That was a great fight, and my line was not in the water very long. I'll tell you what, this is lake fishing at its best. There you go, 78. We do enjoy eating our fish, and this one swallowed the hooks, so he's destined for the table at 78 centimetres. He's just the perfect size for eating. Well, that was so exciting. First cast, I actually haven't even got to chuck a lure in the water. So I've just put my bait back out again. I wonder if that burley made much of a difference, because I have thrown some chopped up pilchard in the water, and I did notice after I threw the chopped up pilchard in the water that there was other fish, probably attracted smaller fish. So I'm going to chuck a bit more pilchard out there to burley. I caught that squid the other morning, so that squid's already paid for itself, which is great. So now I'm actually going to start tossing a lure out for a little while and see if I can get any other bites to keep my eye on that rod again. This is the little lure I'm using. It's just a little hard body. It's kind of a blacky, silvery, shiny colour. I caught a flathead earlier in this video. I caught a nice eating size flathead on this lure. I've just completed 3 days filming with iFish TV, Paul Wersteling. Absolutely wonderful fella. And I was pretty knackered actually, but I just thought, you know, I can't help it. It's that fishing excitement. I thought I've got an hour before dark. So I come down and had a go. So I was recently teaching about being consistent and being persistent. And that's such a big part of fishing. And I know when I was fishing with Paul, you know, if you don't have a line in the water, you're not going to catch anything. That's the same for all fishermen. Sometimes it's easier to stay at home and get comfortable on the lounge, but it's always worth it when it pays off and you get out there. I'm just letting my lure sink slowly down in the water column, and every now and then just giving it a little twitch. And I think I've got some seaweed. I got close to the bottom. You know, as I teach in my beach fishing videos, the low light periods are very good times to fish. And I had a pretty big day today, didn't have much time, but I really only had 1 hour or so before dark, but I thought it's still worthwhile coming down for an hour and just fishing that prime time just before dark. Even though you can have potential to catch larger fish in lakes and rivers like this, it's still best to fish light, because you just give yourself much more potential to catch a bigger variety of fish using light line. You definitely get more bites with light line. And if you do hook something bigger, you've just got to take your time, take it easy to land it. Generally, there aren't obstacles in a lake or river system, usually unless you're near some sort of wharves or something. So you do have the ability to just take your time to land a fish. But I'm only using 10-pound braid, and I only have a 14-pound fluorocarbon leader, so it's relatively light. The 10-pound braid's not that strong. The reason I have the 10-pound braid is that I can cast much further with a light lure if I have thin line. So I'm opting for the lighter braid purely so that I can get further distance in my cast and cover more ground. And I landed a similar size Mulloway recently on this very rod, on this 10-pound braid. It was fantastic. Fantastic fight, certainly totally doable. I think I need to check my bait. Did notice it my squid bait get a few knocks. Could have been a bream or something. But I don't want to risk having no bait on my line. Always want to be confident that I've got a good bait in the water. So I think I'll check that and then I'll resume spinning once I've checked the bait and potentially had to reload. I have my drag set pretty light, just in case something picks it up and wants to take it for a big run. This particular rod that I'm using with the squid bait is a little heavier than my spinning rod. On this one I actually have 20-pound braid as the main line. So I've got 20-pound braid and I've got a leader of 20-pound fluorocarbon. But using the fresh bait like this, casting is not so critical. You always want to be able to get further distance when you're casting lures, but it's not so important when you're just tossing a bait out and letting it sit there. But obviously plenty of bait still on there. Nothing really nabbed it. Maybe something had a little nibble. Can still cast it a fair way because of the braid. Makes it easier for casting. So at the moment I've only got about maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes until it's fully dark, although I can see the moon. The moon is rising. I think we're due for a full moon at the beginning of next week, so the moon is making at the moment. So it's waxing, it's not waning. When it comes to casting lures, whether they be hard bodies or soft plastics, one thing that you really can't get away from is actually spending time casting a lure, just getting used to casting it and used to how it works in the water. You really can't do away with spending that time learning and practicing, because you'll get better at fishing with a lure the more that you fish with it. So you just need to spend time. If it's not something that you do a lot or you want to get better at it, you just got to spend a bit of time on the water, casting, refining your equipment and just getting used to it. And then when you start having some success, you really got to adjust along the way, and it's a learning process. It's probably time for me to put a bit more burley in the water, I reckon. I'll have a couple more casts of this first. So now I'm being patient. I'm letting that lure sink. This lure doesn't have a bib on it, so it doesn't dive when you pull it. You have to impart the action to the lure yourself. I really don't know how deep it is out there, but I want to get closer to the bottom. So now it's been sinking for a minute. I'm just going to give it a little twitch. Gently wind it up and let it sink back down again a little bit more. A bit more of a twitch. So I'm going to chop up a few more pilchards as burley. It's still a little while before it gets dark. I'm not going to stay out here all that long because I'm a little knackered, but I just wanted to fish this prime time. Last time I walked out there into the water with an entree for the fish, my rod took off. We'll see what happens again. You know, when it comes to lake fishing basics, if you watch my videos, you know I fish off the beach and off the rocks a lot, but burleying is a major key for, regardless of where you're fishing, whether you're fishing in a river or a lake, off the beach, out in the deep sea, burleying is a really good thing to do to attract fish. The great thing about pilchards is they have they're really oily and they set off like a bit of an oil slick when you chop them up and chuck them out into the water that the fish can smell. If you'd like a free PDF download of some vital keys from today's session, hit the link in the corner or in the description below. Thanks for joining me in this session. I trust that you've enjoyed it and that perhaps you've learned a few things that will help you with your lake fishing. Look forward to seeing you really soon in another video.